Here we are, Unit 3, Lesson 1.2, Move It. The essential questions are, what is motion? How is distance measured? What is speed? And what is the average speed? The first question that you're going to have to deal with is a maze, and they have marked one pathway in red, and they ask you to make another path that is a different distance than the one that they've marked. So that's the key point there. So there's actually two possibilities to make it from point A to point B, but you need to make sure you're paying attention to the different distance. So they have the one in red, and there are two possibilities for a different pathway. Your next question wants you to investigate what is the difference between speed and average speed. So if we look at a car on a trip and it's going on a trip 150 miles away, the car is going to go a certain speed at different times. So when they first start out, you're going to accelerate and you'll be going maybe 65 miles an hour in this spot because that's the speed limit. And then you might have to speed up to pass a car. So then they might be going 75, 80 miles per hour. And then they got to slow down to go back to the speed limit of 65 miles per hour. And then they might hit some traffic and where they have to slow down to maybe 35 miles per hour. And then the traffic eases up and then they go back to the speed limit of 65 miles per hour. So speed is how fast they're going at that instant. So 65 miles an hour is the speed limit. They have to speed up to 80 miles per hour to pass somebody, so 80 miles an hour at that second. And then they had to slow down to go back to the speed limit of 65 miles an hour. So speed is how fast they're going at that moment. So now I got to look at, well, what is average speed? So they know that their trip is 150 miles away. And let's say that it took them 2 hours to get there. Their average speed then would be 75 miles per hour. 150 miles away divided by 2 would give it an average speed of 75 miles per hour. That doesn't mean that they were going 75 miles per hour in each location of their trip. Remember, here at the beginning, they were going the speed limit. They had to speed up, then they had to slow down, and then they hit some traffic and had to really slow down, and then they had to pick back up to the speed limit. So average speed is how long it took them to go through the whole trip. So average speed is the amount of distance and the amount of time it took for the whole trip. Number 10 is a think outside of the box question. And I think that it is an should do or maybe an aspire to for you. And so it wants you to research the top speeds of a cheetah, a race car, and a race boat. So you have a handout for you to do this on if you're going to turn this in as your should do or aspire to. We're you're going to do research on the three, and then on the back, you're going to make a poster. It says make a poster showing which is fastest and which is the slowest. So you'll simply turn this page over and make your poster, or you can actually make a real poster if you want to. I will have for you resources in our class calendar that you can use to help you do your research on those three things. So you have a cheetah guide, how fast can they run, the 9 fastest cars in the world right now, and the 12 fastest speedboats in the world in 2023. So I'd like for you to use those resources to do your research. And then don't forget that on the back, you will draw your poster, or you actually can make a poster. And that brings us to the end of this part of the lesson.